Greetings, this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth, and what I've got going on today is I wanted to unpack some of the dynamics of the Veeam that I have recorded. Veeams, I should say. And the Veeams are actually an inverted view of things, like this, okay? And I know it's hard to watch. It's hard even for me to watch, and even harder to record it. And one of the reasons why I do it is to show the impossibility of the globe. It's not possible. It's not reality. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this back on around and show what is actually real. Okay, so the globe exists in the imagination only. So I've got one of the hashtags I've done more recently is show and tell. Kind of like when we were in school, we would show something and we would tell about it. Some of mine are inverted, and I'm not saying a word, and it's got the hashtag show and tell. It's also to engage your mind and to try and figure out why would I do this? Well, this is kind of like the spoiler alert, so to speak. And we'll go ahead and flip this around. One of the reasons why I show my contact information quite a bit is to help people be able to find me if you want to. As a very common practice for me, I'll have the water jug on my car, clearly showing that you can have a round container and flat water in it. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. Hey, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? There ain't no gyrating going on. The earth doesn't move. It's a stationary and level earth. There would be no level if we were moving. I've got a very sophisticated precision bubble level. And I'll go into a little bit more detail with that later. What I'm going to do is take us on through over here and show a little bit of this area. They'll be starting the beach renourishment soon. It was absolutely fascinating watching the assembly of this, they call it the crab. And I've got it out in the shown out in the ocean. And it's pretty amazing. It'll go on out there. It's I believe about 45 feet tall or so. And what I've shown too in the view with the crane there is how could a crane work upside down, a wind chime, a crystal bell, water. Let's I've got the shower right there. That's our basic day-to-day interaction with water, whether we're using a restroom, a faucet like this, a shower. Let's put the ocean in the view too, and the handicap. Some people are handicapped by their false reality. They're enslaved and they don't know it. In a prison for their mind. So I've got some very zoomed in footage of this device right here. It's a heavy piece of equipment, over 30,000 pounds. So to see that inverted is pretty weird, of course. And what I've done more recently is go live, or not live, I'm using the recording feature on YouTube. I'll use the record feature, and then I'll go ahead and post it later. It seems to work really good that way. See, when they start rolling with this, and there's a staff member out here, I won't be able to get quite this close physically. However, I will be able to with the camera. That's part of the beauty of that device, the P1000. Oh wow, I'm able to get right on up, right tight to this baby. I've operated heavy equipment like this. My dad, Caterpillar Corporation wanted my dad to work for them. My dad was a commercial steel salesman, amongst other things. He started out selling tires when I was a baby for Firestone. Then he progressed to Morton Salt, and then Reynolds Aluminum. He would bring home aluminum foil and cardboard boxes from the supermarkets that he called on. And I would make forts and spaceships, kind of like the hodgepodge that supposedly landed on the moon. It's ridiculous. We didn't land on the moon. I'm wanting to kind of turn people's world upside down. That's part of the reason for the Veeam. Let's flip that around a bit. You know, and this is another very heavy device that's got a very powerful diesel tractor engine kind of engine on it. It's the same kind of, a little bit smaller than this engine on here, very powerful though. They've got to put the ladder on it and a few other things. Later on, of course, when this equipment is rolling, I'll be at quite a distant. Oh, this is cool. Upside down dogs walking on the beach. Hey buddy, how are you? So part of this, I'm experimenting with my cinematography, how I actually do what I do, and I want to show this world to a population that largely is unaware of the reality that we actually live in. Looks like there's a little coconut oil on my lens there. How about that? Hey, good morning. Well, I'm doing a recording right now. You're welcome to listen in. What's your name?
My name's Keith.
Keith, I'm Robert Forish.
That's good, sir.
Nice to meet you. What I'm going to keep on doing this, and we'll talk in a bit. But you're welcome to stay right here and listen in, Keith. So what I'm showing here is the beauty of this, and yet it's upside down right now. That's where the upside down spinning globe. We went to the fake moon, or we went to the moon, the fake moon landing. That's all part of the dynamic. People are unaware, many of them, that we didn't land on the moon and take pictures of it. Did you know that? Did you know we didn't go to the moon?
Well, I've heard two sides of that, and 2 weeks ago, a guy told me we did not go to the moon. It was all.
Yeah, he was right, Keith.
Because the guy I went to school with, and he does a lot of research on things, and that's exactly what he said.
Yeah,
He said
it's a hoax.
It's all a hoax.
Well,
Exactly right.
he's exactly right, Clyde. I'm gonna go ahead and
right
just
ahead. I'm
finish on a little bit. What you can do when you, if you care to, Keith, I've got one last sticker. I'll show it to my audience. It's the hashtag YouTube Truth, and you'll be able to find me there, Keith. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thanks so much. So part of the dynamic is that people will often come on up to me, and I encourage that. That's pretty cool. I'll be meeting a gentleman down at the pier a little bit later on today. This morning, he might be there now. He and his wife and daughter are visiting from a ways away, another state. And he saw my car there, and he wanted to meet with me and talk. They have what he described as a 4-year-old daughter that has been chemically harmed. They're hurting the children with vaccinations. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do. There's a symphony of humanity out here. I show it on the beach. I show it when I'm zoomed in on this piece of equipment from all the way down here on the pier, a long ways away. And what's interesting about that is the composition, what I'm able to put in the view. I'm able to put people sunbathing, carrying buckets of sand, and heavy equipment working on on heavy equipment, assembling heavy equipment, showing the vertical of the crane next to the ocean right here. Got one of my friends coming here right now. I'll flip this around and show you how it looks inverted. Talked to him the other day. Real friendly guy. The beach services people here are great. I get waves and smiles from them, and they're very hospitable. They keep this place looking really nice. So to see these pieces of equipment operating and being assembled upside down, a wind chime can't hang upside down. None of that would work. Now I would like to have shown you this with the P1000. That's a pretty spectacular shot. But I've got other content like that. The book of Job says that in Job 37 that the sun is in the midst of the clouds. And you can look that up if you care to. Or not. That's part of the dynamic of this, is that some people will apparently want to know the truth about what's happening, really, and then others will not. Oh well. That's just kind of the way it is. So in the context of some of what we're looking, let me zoom out a little bit. These look really heavy. The weight of a piece of steel like that is probably in the neighborhood of 4 or 500. Oh, yeah, maybe 700 pounds or so. Not exactly sure. Looks like they got some new tires on it. Still has all the forming on it. They didn't even wear those off yet. Pretty amazing. When they were pulling that together, they would use ropes to direct, and it's not an easy lift to make. And then there's hydraulic lines that will connect. My dad sold steel to a company, Marine Travel Lift in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, that made equipment like this. Actually big enough to pick up a ship and move it. Bigger, many times bigger than this. And I've been paying attention for a long time. And my dad would answer questions that I had. I knew of when Nixon was getting impeached, my dad told me he went down in an elevator to see a boring machine to bore through the earth, in the earth, to make tunnels. That was so big they attached it to the front end of a diesel engine. Pretty amazing stuff. So what you're looking at here is a submarine hydraulic motor that'll operate from pumps that are operating up on the top there. Good morning. How soon will we have water on the hill? On the 10th. Where is the designated start point? Do you know offhand? I'll figure it out. You guys are easy to find. Oh yeah. Excellent. What's your name? Randy, nice to meet you. If you hashtag YouTube Truth, you'll find yourself here today. I did some recording yesterday. I don't know if you all saw it. Captain Randy, you go by, huh? Yes, excellent. Boy, you got new tires on her and everything, huh? Yeah. I was telling my audience, my dad used to sell steel to a company in Sturgeon Bay that made Marine Travel Lift. Have you ever heard of them? Yes. Yeah, and tunnel boring machines with Manitowoc Engineering. Right. That was in the 70s. I knew about that stuff. Heavy equipment's fascinated me for a long time.
Right, man. Maybe we'll get her together.
Oh yeah, there's still some assembly required. Yeah. A little bit different. Did you have an erector set as a young boy? Hey, just real quick, and I'll let you go. For my audience here, did you believe that Santa was going to deliver you presents with his flying reindeer if you were a good Randy? And I believed that if I was a good Bobby, that I would get my Red Ryder BB gun, the erector set. I think I was still into the Santa lies then. Now that we're all grown up, we can't be deceived, can we? I'm covering that right now. Good to meet you, Randy. So that's part of the dynamic too. Randy assembled his erector set as well as I, working with Legos back in the 60s, that type of thing, and it's interesting. We live in a world that truly has stranger than fiction components to it. There's a deception that's so grand it's hard for people to even consider it. And I'm simply wanting to expose that. I believe it's very important because 3 people per second are transitioning into an eternity without their body anymore. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. Yeah, pretty fascinating. I was created to do this. That's why I do it. And in the Logan Paul video, I mentioned to him, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? And then, of course, we We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. And then I went on to say, you know, I tried pleasing others. It didn't work. Friends, family, just couldn't do it. And then I tried pleasing myself. And then he asked me the question at about the 26-minute mark. You can listen to it. That failed miserably too. A lot of times people are fooling themselves. They're viewing themselves in this world in a way that works for them. And so now that I'm actually born again, the Spirit of God who created this world living in and through me, I'll do what He created me to do, and He makes me real happy, real satisfied with that, in spite of the social ridicule, death threats. I actually was physically threatened by, he mentioned that he was in prison. He was an angry guy, he and his wife, and it was an interesting exchange. You know, I wasn't trying to be obnoxious. I just flat out said, you know, he called me crazy. I said, well, I know that you're deceived believing you live on a globe. There's no nice way of putting that. But many of us were. Many of us bought the Santa Claus deception. So I've hashtagged NASA lies, Santa lies, and ultimately Satan lies. He's the father of lies. He's the master deceiver. So what I'll simply do now is share the truth with my audience, anybody who is interested. And they'll come up, talk to me, and I appreciate that. It means a lot to be able to have people that are interested in knowing about the reality of the world that we live in. and I'll do it I would say I'll just do it. I'll do it because that's why I'm created to do this. What I went on to say to that gentleman who physically threatened me, was very rude and threatened violence. I said, well, you do what you got to do. Be prepared to be surprised because nothing's going to happen to me that God doesn't cause or allow. You can't step 1 foot further than God allows you to. Could drop you deader than a hammer right there. And I've got skills too. Where I'm at the Prince Resort, just so you know, that's all cameraed up. You can go to the Prince Resort in Cherry Grove, South Carolina, and see many camera views and operate the camera from your remote location in some cases, like the end of the pier is one of them that you can operate from virtually anywhere in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around and say thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. Let's see, I'm looking for my closing shot here. I reckon that's about as good as any. Let me thank you so much.